again, everyone, and welcome to Peak Policy here at Mountain States Policy Center. I'm Chris Cargill, the president of Mountain States Policy Center, and we're glad that you're with us here today to give you a little bit of a preview here on Peak Policy of the upcoming Idaho legislative session. As many of you know, you've been watching the program, you know that we've had on legislators from both the House and the Senate, and both Idaho, Montana. We'll have some from Wyoming and Washington coming up, but everyone is getting ready for the 2025 legislative session. Now the election is over, so we're looking forward to the policy making coming up in the legislative session. So the session in Idaho will begin on January 6th, and we're really excited today to have State Senator Brandon Shippy with us. He was recently appointed to the seat in the 9th legislative district, which I don't mind saying is the most beautiful legislative district in the state, Senator Shippy, but I have to be honest, we kind of say that about everybody's legislative district, so you'll have to forgive me for that. But it's good to see you. Thanks so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. Kind of give us a little bit about your background for the folks that are watching either on social media or YouTube, X, LinkedIn. Tell them a little bit about yourself and where you came from.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Chris. So just I'll start with a little bit of my background. My family, the Shippy family, has been in this area for generations, in the Weiser Payette area, which is where District 9 is here in Idaho. District 9, just for some point of reference for you, is Washington County, Payette County, and a portion of Canyon County. And my great-grandfather migrated out of Oklahoma following World War II and settled in Weiser. They were land movers, they were land levelers, and farmers. My grandfather was a farmer in New Plymouth area, which is close by where I grew up. My father was actually, he worked closely with farmers, and then eventually got into landscaping and that type of work. And that's what I grew up doing. A little bit of my background there, and been married to my wife Raquel for 16 years. We got married in 2008, and we have 3 children, 2 adopted through the foster care system. My wife and I are foster care providers, and we have a biological son. And so more recently got into the political scene here. My family's been here long time, like I said, but never involved in politics. And so probably in the 2018 is where I started getting a little bit more involved in politics. And then in 21 got involved in more my local GOP here in the county, ran for precinct committeeman, and a lot of folks just appreciated what they saw in my heart to serve the community and ability to lead and various things. And so I was asked to consider running for Senate, and decided to go ahead and do that in 2023. Let me see, I announced in, I think, June of last year would be, I guess, and started doing a lot of fundraising. And our then senator, which was Abby Lee, had not announced one way or the other. And so we weren't sure who would be facing off with, but we raised a bunch of money. I think close to 80,000, maybe a little bit more. Did really well there, and then we wound up facing off with Scott Syme. Abby Lee decided to retire, not to rerun, and then so we wound up winning the primary in May, and then Abby Lee went ahead and actually resigned. Surprising, much to our surprise, she resigned in July 1, and then so Governor Little actually appointed me in July 18th, I believe. So I've been serving as the senator since then. And then obviously just won my general election here. We won pretty big out here. I think we got 83% somewhere in there. And
yeah, I think you may be one of the highest in the state, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, there were a couple other that beat me by a little bit as far as a Republican candidate, but we were some of the top vote getters in the state. I think we got over 20,000 votes, and my Democrat opponent got around 4,000, maybe 4,300, something like that. And so we were really happy with the outcome there. We had really high voter turnout, and we realized, of course, the higher the voter turnout, the more red it got. So that was pretty cool. And I've served a little bit on an interim committee on artificial intelligence already. It's kind of my first dip into the water of serving in the Senate. Besides constituent services, answering emails, serving my constituents in that way so far. So no, looking forward to this upcoming session for sure.
The busy part of session probably has already began for you, but as you know, it's going to get even more busy as we get closer and closer to the kickoff. What are some of the things, Senator, that you're trying to get accomplished this session, or maybe are you going into it and saying, I don't have anything that I absolutely have to get done, that I'm gonna try to work on other priorities?
Yeah, no, I appreciate the question. Obviously, as a newly elected senator, this is new to me. A lot of the processes, just kind of getting into it is going to be a lot of work, and so I don't have a huge bucket list as far as getting a lot of policy done. We do have some things we're working on. Just some of the stuff is really simple. I had a constituent come to me and was concerned about driver's license for seniors being unfair, and that they're required. Seniors are required to renew their driver's license every 4 years, and they can't get the 8-year license, and so they have to pay a higher amount every 8 years. And ultimately, it's not, the price isn't based on administrative costs. And so what we're going to do is just trying to match that. So a senior will be able to get a driver's license for 4 years. That'll match the total cost of an 8-year license, where they could previously, when they were under 63 years old, be able to get. So anyway, just a few things like that that we're working on. They're more they're not going to be bipartisan issues there. And then when it comes to just the overall, some of the overall things I want to focus on in the legislature, my wife and I, as I mentioned, are foster care providers, and so
God bless you.
I've been in contact with Alex Adams, and I want to work with him on hopefully bringing some reforms, making it a little bit easier to do foster care, whatever we need to do to have homes for these children who are they have no choice in the matter, and they're without a home, and some of these are staying in Airbnbs and hotels, and so what can we do to make things better for them? Because kids that age out of the foster care system, 90% of them wind up in jail, and there are a lot of issues there that I think we need to really look at hard. And so I'm willing to serve on Health and Welfare Committee and contribute in that way for sure. So,
Senator, as you know, there's probably going to be a lot of talk this session about taxes. It seems like there's always talk about taxes, obviously. And I know there's a lot of suggestion that we do something about the grocery tax, or we address the income tax, or we address the property tax. There's not a state property tax, but local property taxes are on the top of a lot of people's list. Do you fit into any one of those buckets as to which one we need to address first, or which one we try to adjust going forward?
Yeah, one of the promises that my opponent made on the campaign trail was that he was going to work hard to get rid of grocery tax. I never made that promise, just because it seems like that promise has always been made and no one ever accomplishes anything on that. As I've looked into tax policy and some of the issues surrounding grocery tax versus income tax, I've heard good arguments on both sides. The grocery tax, I have not considered that a high priority for myself. I'll start with the main reason being that it's not a high priority to my constituents. I'm sure there are some folks that would like to see it gone. I wouldn't mind paying less taxes in groceries, obviously. And we're on a border state, and so I know Fruitland is Fruitland City. We're right next to Ontario, Oregon, which they can't compete, who have no sales tax at all, and so the stores can't compete well. So there are those issues there, but overall, there have been some decent arguments for not prioritizing getting rid of the grocery tax, in that any out-of-state, we're going to shut down a lot of, I don't know how to word it for sure. We're going to get rid of a lot of out-of-state revenue, essentially, if we got rid of it. I don't remember the numbers. I've heard them, but essentially, Idahoans get a grocery tax credit, so we get our money back, essentially. But you would lose that potential revenue from out-of-staters coming through, purchasing groceries and so forth. And so there's arguments there. And grocery tax being a little bit more of a fair tax, meaning that it's applied when you purchase them. The more you purchase, you're going to pay more, and it's fair across the board. So whether you're a hardworking Idahoan, whether you're somebody that is not contributing in that way to the economy, maybe you're not working at the time, maybe you're somebody who you're a renter, you're a property owner, you're a felon, you're an illegal alien, whatever it might be, you're contributing to the taxes, the overall revenue of the state. Whereas income tax, it's limited to people who are working, and the harder you work, the more you're taxed. And so I would personally prioritize income tax, getting rid of income tax over getting rid of the grocery tax, because that's I think that's where we need to start if we're really going to focus on something. Maybe getting rid of taxes on tips, getting rid of taxes on overtime, whatever it might be to incentivize hard work, productivity, those type of things. I think is going to be really valuable for Idaho.
Well, we agree with you 100%, Senator. Hopefully you've got a copy of this, the policy manual that we sent out.
I do have it. I sent over on my.
This isn't a test. This isn't a test. But we do. I mean, we make the same type of arguments that you're making. In fact, we're working on some research right now to show which tax would be more beneficial to lower for Idaho families. So I think you're speaking our language. We certainly agree with that, and the research that we have agrees with that as well. What other issues, Senator, as we wrap up here in our remaining time, are you looking at for the upcoming session? Obviously, education choice is going to be up there, and you and I were at an event about a month and a half ago, I think it was, or so, talking about that issue. There's going to be talk, I believe, from what I'm hearing, about immigration type issues. Only so much the state can do, obviously, on immigration issues. But anything else that's really big that you see kind of lurking out there?
In the conversations that I'm having, I think the issue on school choice is going to be probably a big one. I find myself in an interesting place. I don't know if that's a conversation you're wanting to have here, but I consider myself very conservative, and I kind of fit into, you might say, a certain portion of the Republican caucus. But the one thing that I tend to disagree with them on is the issue of school choice, and I've got my reasons. My background is one of homeschooling. Our family does do homeschooling for our children. And so we have a lot of concerns about the proposals we've seen, and more than happy to talk about more of the details of that. But just as a general sense, I've not typically been supportive of the ideas that I've seen.
State Senator Brandon Shippy of the 9th Legislative District, we appreciate you taking the time to be with us as we look forward to the upcoming legislative session. We will see you at the Capitol during session, Senator, and have a good holiday.
All right. I really appreciate you patching me in here, Chris. It's good to see you again.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Senator. That is our Peak Policy with Idaho State Senator Brandon Shippy. If you want to read and see more Peak Policy programs, go to our website, mountainstatespolicy.org. mountainstatespolicy.org. As the senator and I were talking about the policy manual, you can get a copy on Amazon, or you can go to mountainstatespolicy.org to read an electronic version there. Hope to see you on December 12th at the Grove Hotel in Boise for the release of the Idaho poll. This is our a biannual poll that we do on public policy issues leading into the legislative session. So we'll be talking in that poll and asking Idahoans their opinions on everything from taxes to education choice to how they see the state going as of right now. So go to mountainstatespolicy.org MSPC.org and sign up for the Idaho poll. And don't forget our spring dinner in Coeur d'Alene on Friday, April 11th with Judge Jean Pirro. She will be our keynote speaker this year. Thanks so much to all the folks who attended our fall dinner in Boise with Trey Gowdy and Senator Tim Scott. Really appreciate everyone being there. It was a terrific event, and we look forward to celebrating in the spring as well in Coeur d'Alene. For all of us at Mountain States Policy Center, thank you very much for being with us, and we will see you again next time here on Peak Policy.
Thanks for watching Mountain States Policy Center. To stay up to date on the work of MSPC, visit mountainstatespolicy.org or find us on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Mountain States Policy Center. Free markets first.